Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's another pair of Technics SL-1210MK2s. This pair were dropped off to me last weekend for some much needed TLC. They require a full service, stripped down as you can see, including a deep clean. They are very, very grubby. Lots of parts that need to be replaced on both turntables. And you wouldn't know it by looking at this video, but the strobe lighting is actually very, very dim. To the point of the right-hand side turntable, you can't actually see the strobe dots. So surprisingly, through my camera, you can actually see the strobe dots. The left-hand one is dim. You could just about make out the strobe dots. But on camera, these look all right. But you can probably see it from here, just how much dimmer the right-hand one is. But they both need replacing. So LEDs are going to be fully refreshed. So new LEDs in the all the stock lighting is all going to be changed. So strobe LEDs, 33, 45, warm white SMDs in the pop-ups. Because this one's not working. This one still works. But we're going to be replacing the SMDs, 33, 45, strobe lighting, and the pitch LEDs. No brainer when it comes to the pitch trims. They're both going to be replaced because they're in absolutely horrific condition. So new pitch trims, brand new slider units are going to be installed. New shading cloth, new pitch felt, new potentiometer on the board. Everything deep cleaned in there. It's going to be like new once completed. Arm assemblies, suspected bearing damage on one turntable at least. We've got an arm clip that is completely snapped off here, but also movement in the arm assembly as well. Pivots are going to be machine polished, so they're nice and clean. Entire arm assembly is going to be stripped down, obviously to suspect the bearing damage anyway, but the whole thing needs to be ripped apart and deep cleaned. The height adjuster ring on one turntable does not move, or should I say is 3/4 of the way seized. You get about a quarter of the way around, it stops. This one still moves. We've also got movement in the arm, but that's actually the base that's moving, not the arm. I've already tested floating on that one, is okay. So that's going to be stripped down, deep cleaned, polished, all the usual bits that I offer. Platters, again, with a good clean and a bloody good polish, make a huge difference with this. Same thing goes to the other turntable as well. We've got these audio cables. So these are actually, they're aftermarket cables, but the connectors they put on these are actually solderless connectors. So the idea with this is you unscrew the housing and you've got two Phillips screwdriver sections. You actually strip the cable down and screw them down instead of soldering them. It's a very good idea if you are not very good with soldering. It gets you out of trouble. So I'm not going to be complaining about that. And they're bloody heavy as well. They must be quite good quality, these particular connectors. But yeah, this is all going to be taken apart. This is obviously going to be removed. So we have brand new audio cables on both turntables. Grounding cables snapped on this one. Same thing goes to the other turntable. That's also snapped. And again, changing over these cables. Even though these are not the standard cables, they've put them on. But as you can see here, we've got about ½ an inch worth of distance there. That's too short. So someone's obviously put these on just to get them out of trouble. And that's fine, but it's all going to be taken off. We have new power cables too. This one's very short. Usually there's lots of cable left over here. It's been shortened at some point. This is the standard old school Technics cables or the old school power cables. Looks like bell wire, but they've both got them. They are the original cables for this particular year. And yeah, the pitch controls need a lot of love on these. It's a good thing we're taking them out and replacing them. And quite ironically, because I can now see the strobe dots, I can actually show you what we're working with the pitch controls. So obviously locking at 0, so we know the quartz lock is working on this, but if we move it from 0 and up, you can see here we've got 2 0 points. So secondary 0 point of 1.5. If we now go to plus 3.3, roughly 3.3 using the camera, roughly around here, I'd say. It's very difficult to do this with holding the other camera in my hand. So 3.3 is just, oh, actually that's not bad. Not bad for a genuine, but either way it's heavily worn. Let's go to plus 6. See what we're playing with here. It's very difficult to see this, doing this with me. My camera, I'd say roughly around here. So we're about 4.5, nearly 5. Okay, well that's a heavily worn slider. That needs replacing regardless. This turntable, let's check this out as well. So 0, we're going to start moving it up the range. There you go, it jumped, as you can all see. 3.3 is a 2. Plus 6. Oh, that didn't move very far, did it? So plus 6, just under 4. Minus 3.3. I'm going to put bets on this as being sped up at some point in its life. So I now move to minus 2 0 positions. Slightly off the lock. Minus 3.3 is 2.5. In fact, what was the minus 3.3 on the other turntable? I don't think I checked this one, did I? Let's get this over here, do this with the camera so I can actually see what I'm doing. Right, minus 3.3 is, again, 1.5. Oh, lovely. Don't you just love it? So, yeah, we're going to be stripping these down, getting these into 1,000,000 pieces and start the deep cleaning process, starting off with the plimps, taking the trim off, taking the shader cloth off, taking the surrounds off for the pop-ups because the adhesive is more than likely starting to eat away at the bottom because this was starting to move when I was popping the pop-up up on this one here. Get that nice and clean to a good standard, so the standard that I'm happy with. Then we'll start on the arm assembly, then rebuild the pitch, check the main board, reflow the solder, change over the diode section, the diodes on the area in the corner, so for the power. We're going to change over the quartz oscillator crystals as well on both turntables. Peace of mind with that. They very rarely ever go wrong, but we're going to change them over as standard with any service. And thermal paste as well. Heat the IC and the regulator at the top of the board. That's also going to have some thermal paste on as well. It would have dried out by now. Go over the boards. Make sure we've got no bowing caps or anything on there that needs to be replaced. And just strip everything. So the window on the 33 button there, that's starting to sink because the adhesive has actually come off and starting to dry. That's going to be fixed. Operation base stripped out completely. Buttons all removed. The actual button caps removed. New tactile switches because these don't feel very good at all. It's quite hard to push that one. And just start from scratch. Really looking forward to digging into these. Stay tuned for the next video, guys, because the next time you see these, they're going to be lovely and clean and ready to go back to the owner. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Cheers, peeps.